I am your host, FatDag, and you're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com. Follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations, and I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, here we are, episode 88 of WhysAdvice, and really just want to take a moment to thank you again for being here. We're recording the show live on Facebook. It's Friday night. You're all hanging out. And man, it's encouraging to see this many people are actually focused on their journey enough for on a Friday night. We're hanging out, kind of talking about what it takes to stay focused, what it takes to be on the plan. And when I say when you're out of points, stop eating points, what does that mean? You know, I see a post on Connect often, people commenting and saying, hey, when I'm out of points, stop eating points. Let me tell you about the next step in that process. I don't just say it just to make you stop eating. That's not the intent at all. The intent is that's what it takes to teach you how to start eating properly, how to change your habits, how to be mindful into what you're eating. And when I say when you're out of points, stop eating points, you find things that are 0-point items at that point. There's still plenty of fruits and vegetables that are available. You can still do that. But here's what I really want you to, here's step or plan B in that process. When you're out of points, stop eating points. Switch to fruit, switch to vegetables. Then take a minute and look at your tracker. And at this point in the evening, when it's 6 p.m., 7 p.m., you're out of points and you've stopped eating points, open your tracker, look at it, and then figure out what you would want for dinner. See, man, if I had 10 points right now, I would have this for dinner. And then look in your tracker and say, where could I have found 10 points? And then suddenly the Reese's peanut butter cup, maybe, well, if I wouldn't have had that, I could have had dinner. Okay, that makes sense. Well, maybe the bag of potato chips, if I didn't have those chips for lunch, right now I could be eating dinner. Right now, if I didn't have, maybe if I didn't have the ketchup, or if I didn't have that barbecue sauce, and right now I could be having dinner. That is what it takes to teach you how to start making some healthy choices. And I'm asking you to do that is what I want you to do is when you're out of points, stop eating points, assess your tracker, look at it and say, what changes could I have made so that tomorrow when it comes on, when tomorrow shows up and you say, you get to lunch and you open your normal lunch and you see the bag of chips, I want you to know that that bag of chips may mean that you're not going to have dinner or that you're going to have salad again for dinner. At some point, the more you do that, the more you will start making healthy choices and you'll start giving up some of those things that are really just filler foods that aren't keeping you full. And that's what I mean when I say when you're out of points, stop eating points. Now, out of the gate, we get an email from Dee Dee. She writes in and says, hi, my name is DD_R on Connect. I live in Northern Virginia. I've been following Weight Watchers for almost a year now, and I'm almost down 32 pounds. I'm pretty strict with my tracking. I even take pictures of all my food, and I share it on Connect with the Smart Points every day for accountability and support. I have a Garmin step counter, and I get 12,000 steps at least every day, and I drink over half my weight in water in ounces every day. I eat my weeklies most weekends on purpose. Steve Sprengel is one of my greatest supporters and rarely use any fit points. You would think that I would be rocking it at my meetings, but my losses are usually very small, and occasionally I gain even though I haven't binged or done anything wrong. I try real hard not to let it get me down, but sometimes it does anyway. I know that any loss is a good loss, and most weeks I feel good about myself and know that I'm successful even before I get on the scale. I actually reward myself with a small non-food reward on the day before my weigh-in if I have done all my tracking, made my step goal, and drank all of my water for the week. So I guess I'm a turtle. I ask myself sometimes, what else could I be doing? Is there something I am missing? Do I need to shake things up as far as my blue dots go? I pretty much hit 30 points exactly on the days that I'm not eating my weeklies. I'm attaching pictures of my Garmin calendar so you can see I really do get goal almost always. and my journey screenshots too, so you can see what I'm talking about. I don't know if others have similar things they wonder about, or if this is a possible topic for the show, but it's my main concern. Usually I'm pretty positive, and I can tell myself that I'm making good choices, and for sure I'm making a lifestyle change. I just wish the scale would reflect that more than it does. Thanks for all you do. I really appreciate it. I listen to your podcast while I'm getting my 12,000 steps in. I just started with the app, and I'm just now hearing about your Orlando trip. I will be caught up soon. Keep up the great work. You're making a difference. Well, Dee, here we go. You're in the point where you're working the plan very, very well. As a result, you're down 32 pounds. That is by itself incredible. You don't lose 32 pounds on accident. It's one of those things that we expect our bodies to behave differently than what we want them to do. For you to lose 32 pounds, it means you had 32 pounds to lose, which means at some point you weren't following the plan properly. At some point you weren't conscious of what you were eating, which allowed you to get those 32 pounds that you have the opportunity to lose now. And now through focus, dedication, determination, you've taken them off. The timeline doesn't matter. The fact that you're working the plan, you've proven you're working the plan properly. And that is how you've gotten down 32 pounds. So great job. I understand your frustration. I really do. I understand when you feel like you're tracking everything. There's a couple things in your email that kind of give me a hint of where we're at. You're doing very well on the program. You say that most weeks you have a small loss. That's great. A small loss is great. Some weeks you have a gain. And then you also said in the email, some weeks I eat some of my fit points. Some weeks I eat all of my weeklies. Now you're certainly encouraged to do all those, but you have to understand, depending on where and when in the process you eat them, they do show up on your weigh-in day. So if you're eating your fit points and your body really does need right to the point where you are right in tune and you're eating right at almost the right amount of calories for a balance, and then this is the week you choose to eat a couple extra fit points, well, they will show up a little bit. So you have to just be conscious of that. And you have to, exactly what you're doing, accept that as part of the plan. Continue to focus on the trend line. The trend line in your scenario is showing a 32-pound loss, which is absolutely incredible. So keep up the good work there. Now, here's a couple things I'd offer for you. I looked at all the photos you sent in. You have blue dots, I think, every single day of the month. That's incredible. That's incredible focus to be able to track to that level of accuracy. That's what I did to lose my 91 pounds. The blue dots weren't available when I did it, but I'm confident as I look back through my tracker, that's what my months would have looked like during my journey. When I started having great success is when I started shifting my focus to the quality of the food that I was eating. Protein foods that are richer in protein are better for your body. So I want you to start looking at what you're eating and see if you can increase your protein intake. That may help. That may get you a little more full. Your body may react differently, but not all calories, not all points are equal in nutritional value. At this point where you're down 32 pounds, you're doing amazing work, you're rocking the program, it may be a chance for you now to reassess the food quality that you're doing and see what you're doing there. Another thing I would offer up for you is to consider online coaching. The online coaching version, not that I'm trying to push it, but what you would probably need at this point is you need someone who can look directly at your tracker day by day, week by week, look at your food choices and help you make those decisions. You probably need the next level of support that I can't really provide through just a generic podcast going back and forth. So someone who can work with you a lot more closely, looking at every meal that you've eaten and helping you kind of dissect those meals, that may be it. You're clearly in the zone. You are more focused than most of the people that I see work in the plan, and you're doing fantastic work. Focus on your food quality. The last thing I would offer up for you is sometimes a lot of us, we're working the plan very well. We're doing exactly what you're doing, and you have to start guessing at food. And so if you look in the tracker and you say a chicken breast, and you track it as a chicken breast, and you pull it out of the freezer and you cook it as a chicken breast, and the pound on the package says the 1 pound chicken breast, and you track it. But maybe there's 2 in the package and you took the smaller one or you took the larger one. If you're not weighing it on your home scale, on your food scale to get an exact number, there could be some hidden points in that process where you would want to then know the exact serving size for what you're eating. The serving size of your food matters. So if you're guessing at it, if you're estimating portions a lot, and you would know that better on your tracker, if you are really sitting there guessing and estimating on a lot of sizes, there could be, 4 to 5 points hidden in a day that you didn't know about. So back to, I would offer up online coaching. I would say to that, there is an extra cost to that. It's something additional to your plan that you would sign up for. You could certainly tap into the 24/7 live chat. That is free. The 24/7 live chat through the Weight Watcher app may give you some clues, but the online coaching is what I'm recommending, so that you can find someone who can look at your tracker with you and talk through every meal and get you to go through there. So thanks for your email, Dee Dee, and keep up the fantastic work. 32 pounds is incredible. Out of Groveland, California, Sarah writes in, says, "Hi, FatDag. I recently discovered your podcast, and I've been binge listening all week long. I'm a lifetime member, but I'm at the highest weight again. I'm 37 and a mom to a 6-year-old. This time, I want to lose the weight and keep it off for life. My 21-year-old cousin and her mom recently died from cancer. What a wake-up call. Every day is precious, and I don't want to spend another day being complacent and regretting how I look or feel. I know I can achieve my goal weight, and the key to it is keeping my head in the game at all times. You've taught me that a daily focus is essential to my success. Online only didn't work for me. I needed the meetings and connect to keep me motivated and to keep me determined. What do you do about food pushers or folks who think you are not eating enough? I went out to sushi with a friend and he was so disappointed that I didn't want to order every single crazy roll on the menu. Spider rolls, dragon rolls, tempura rolls, all with fried food and covered in mayonnaise and sriracha dipping sauce. I was like, I ruined his entire lunch, but sticking to a modest portion of cucumber rolls and I don't even know how to pronounce some of this stuff. Sashimi. I was happy with what I ordered. He told me I wasn't eating enough and needed to stop starving myself. As we all know on Weight Watchers, starving yourself is not part of the plan. I simply said I wasn't hungry enough to eat all that food, but that he should order whatever he wanted. Needless to say, it was awkward how irritated he was. Thanks for your service and your selfless support to the fellow Weight Watcher members. Keep up the great work, Sarah. Sarah, absolutely. You're still at your lifetime range. You're at the highest of your range. I get that. That's a feeling where you are, yes, you're at a goal. Yes, you're at lifetime, but you're not at what we consider or what I consider lifetime. Lifetime and goal is a feeling. And so you may be fine on the scale, but you're not fine in your head. And that's where you obviously are struggling. So you do need, exactly like you said, you need to focus on your why. Exactly like you said, your why now, you're done being complacent and, regretting how you look and you feel. You have a little bit of motivation. I'm deeply sorry to hear about your cousin and her mother. That certainly is going to continue to fuel your journey. That's a why that's just going to be powerful for you. And if you tap into it like you have, you're really going to see a dramatic difference. And you're going to get to that point in your journey where you get back to your look and your feel goal and you feel good about it. So now the thing that some of us need, and myself included, is I know this takes daily focus. But man, sometimes when the focus comes in at 6 a.m., by 6 p.m., I've lost it. So I try and stay focused throughout the course of the day. Sometimes it's 2 to 3 days. I need 2 to 3 times a day that I need that reminder to stay focused. It's why I check in on Connect. It's why I kind of post, I'm an over poster, because I need to get in there. I need for my own accountability to be reminded why I'm doing this. So maybe we got to find a little bit of extra motivation to kind of throughout the course of the day, set a reminder at some point. Hey, maybe in the middle of the day, check in again, kind of get refocused, to get a different reminder and a different frame from the middle of the day on, and do that. Now, as far as food pushers, I found the number one way, regardless of whether you're under eating or overeating or whatever they want you to do, the number one way I found to compete and to beat the food pusher is to be a goal. To be at a goal where I'm happy and I'm content and I feel the best that I've ever felt. At that point, I don't care what anyone else is saying. It doesn't matter to me because I know how I feel. I know how much work I've done to get to where I am, and I'm never giving that feeling back. And what I've found is when you get to that place, when you're truly, truly happy, not only do you not really care what they say, but they change their mindset as well. People you hang out with often will adjust to you once you make goal. And you make to the goal where you're happy and content, because your daily habits will change and they'll start noticing the change and they'll stop offering. And a lot of times, a lot of the food pushers continue to offer because they know we take it. So if they bring in a plate of brownies or something like that and you take one, they will always bring them in and they will always ask you until you take one. At some point, when you get to the point where you 100% resist, they'll quit doing that on you. So that is where you got to focus, but get to goal, stay to goal, remind others that I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier, and I'm really in control of my journey at that point. So continue to do what's going on. Continue to rock the plan like you have. You've done it before. You know exactly what you need to do. Focus on getting to goal. Focus on stepping on that scale and not wanting to lose a single pound. And Sarah, you have the ability to do that. So thank you. Rebecca writes in, says, "Hi, not FatDag. Thank you for your show. I've really learned a lot from following your wise words. My question concerns the amount of water that a person should consume daily. I've been on the programs that have me consuming almost a gallon a day. Needless to say, I didn't do that very long. I pretty much only drink water, coffee, or unsweetened tea, but as of now, I just drink to thirst. Would love to hear your take on this. Thanks for your dedicated service to our great country. God bless, Rebecca K. 15. Rebecca, that's an interesting question. So the first thing I did is I've heard the rule that drink 8-ounce glasses of water a day. I've kind of heard that rule, so I just did a quick little Google search before the show to double check that math to see if it's right. I'll put a link to the Mayo Clinic answer to your question in the show notes, so there will be a link to there. But that's generally the guidelines, is 8 glasses of water a day. If you drink bottled water, a typical bottled water is 16 ounces. So really 4 of those a day is kind of what the recommendation is. Now, there's a lot of factors that play into that, right? How much exercise are you getting? What's the temperature out? What climate are you in? Is your body healthy? If you're fighting a cold, you need more. So it's a great article, and I'm really just going to point to the link to the Mayo Clinic because that is kind of the guidelines I use. But there's a couple great apps out there as well. I've heard of an app called Plant Nanny. I believe that's the one where you can kind of track your water and you can put it in the app, and you kind of feed a plant based on how much water intake you have. And so that's probably something, if you need that visual or you need something to help you remind you. I'm at the point in my journey where I'm positive I'm getting enough water. I'm constantly, I've given up soda completely. I was 12 sodas a day at one point. I went all the way down to 0 and I replaced that with water. I think I have 2 or 3 glasses of water before I even have breakfast, most days, or even before lunch for sure. And then it's water with every meal. So I'm certainly hitting my 8, so I don't need to track it in that regard. But on top of that, I continue to drink more. So I do it I do it by thirst, but I also by meal, I have, at least 2 per meal. And that certainly does get me carried over. So focus on that article. Go check it out and use that recommendation. But continue working the program. Continue to have the great success you had. Thank you for your email, and absolutely, it's an honor for me to serve our nation. It's one of the highlights of my life. So thank you for that acknowledgement as well. Carol from Ohio writes in, says, "Hi, FatDag. I really enjoyed the podcast, and your message is sticking with me. I've joined Weight Watchers 100 times, at least, well, maybe more. I always learn from it, and I'm always hopeful. This time is different. I truly believe I will get to my goal. I don't care how long it takes me. I listen and I'm trying to understand and learn about maintenance so I don't gain it back like I have done in the past. Anyway, yesterday out of my element. Normally I plan and pack my food. I work, come home, make dinner, simple snack, and then bedtime. Yesterday, my friends and I were going on a mini one-night vacation. We went kayaking, then out to eat to have a few drinks. I should have told these wonderful, longtime friends of mine that I had goals and I needed to stay focused and within my points, but I didn't. Instead, I gave in to fried mushrooms, French fries, chicken wings, chips, and beer. My tummy was not really happy with these foods, even though I ate a ton of points. I was not satisfied when I went to bed, and I really could have eaten more. I felt like I went hog wild and completely out of control. I woke up angry and disappointed with myself. I then took the tracker and I tracked it all. It was ugly. I cannot believe how many points some of that stuff is. I then thought, no wonder you gained so much no wonder I gained so much weight eating with reckless abandon like that. And then I stayed on track all day. I have a busy weekend planned, but I'm determined to keep myself in control. So while you're saying when you're at a point, stop eating points, didn't exactly work for me last night, the focus and get right back on track did. Thanks for putting it out there. God bless, Carol from Ohio. Well, Carol, a couple things real quick. The first issue is the most important for me that I want to address with you is that you woke up angry and disappointed with yourself. You have to absolutely understand that what you did is completely normal. If you go to any single meeting room and you said, hey, here's what I did, a show of hands is going to show up and say, yep, me too. So that's the beauty of Connect, is that when you post it on Connect and when you share in the Weight Watcher community, the rest of us understand exactly what that is. So getting angry and disappointed is not an emotion I want you to have. What the emotion I want you to have is the next one you have, is that you woke up, you tracked it, and you owned it. So it's absolutely going to happen. So the fact that you know the numbers, the fact that you tracked it, is absolutely the victory we should celebrate here. Now, we're not celebrating the fact that the number is a significantly high or a negative number. That's not what we're celebrating. But what we're celebrating is you said, I woke up, I tracked it. It's no wonder how high the points were. You didn't know. Well, now you do. The next time this scenario comes up, because you've taken the time to track it, you at least know what the numbers are going to be. So the next time you're out in this scenario, you will be more conscious. You may still be in the exact same scenario. You may still reach for the same exact things. But the fact that you know the numbers because you track them this time, I promise you it'll be a different scenario. The number will be less than it was this time, and then slowly you make the adjustments long term. Focusing is the key. The fact that you got back on track is powerful. This little day in your journey, when you reach the goal, when you hop on the scale for the very last time in a weight loss mode, this day will not even show up. You're not going to remember this one day. The fact that you were able to focus and get back on track is what you're going to remember. The fact that you stuck with it, the fact that you stayed with it and you say, I want this more than anything, that is what you're going to remember. So days like this will happen. We're not proud of them, but we certainly don't need to get angry and disappointed. Because in the long term, 5 years from now, this day is not going to matter. So keep up the great work. One of the rules, a lot of us ask, how do we get back on track? And it doesn't exactly apply to your scenario, but I want to throw it out there because I think it's important. It's a rule that I use, and I kind of call it the rule of thirds. I've talked about it a little bit before on the show. I take my daily points and I divide them in thirds. And roughly that's what I kind of hit for my target for each meal. And when I get off track, sometimes in the middle of the day, a lot of us think that once we're off track for the day, that's the free pass to kind of just go. And so what I do is that I have a rule of thirds. And so if for some reason, I do exactly what you did in the middle of a day, well, I still have to have dinner that night. And, it's still going to be an even night. So because I've already overeaten for the day, I don't necessarily need the food. At that point, yeah, sure, you could say when you're out of points, stop eating points. But at this point, we've already gone and we've blown it. At that point, I'm retracking and refocusing on track. So you know what? Let me keep dinner back to a third of my normal day. And that just puts me right back on plan. You wake up in the morning, your points have reset, and you go. You don't need to wait till midnight to reset. You can reset at the very next meal by using the rule of thirds and say, hey, this is the third meal of the day. What's 1/3 of my points? Let me hit that as my target and move on. So, Carol, keep up the great work. Thanks for your email. It's an honor to be here hanging out with you for sure. Last but not least, I got an email from Karen. Karen writes in, says, hi, FatDag. I've been watching your progress too, and I'm in awe of all you've accomplished and your enthusiasm and your willingness to help others. I follow the Simply Filling technique and enjoyed your podcast. I did want to tell you, though, that we do track. We just don't count smart points. We count weekly points for foods not on the list, but we do account for everything that we eat. I use the paper trackers, but lots of members do everything on their smartphones. I'm not sure that the phone app is geared for those of us doing Simply Filling, but we don't take a free pass from tracking. I understand it didn't work for you, but many of us like it. Again, congratulations on your success, and your podcasts are great, Karen. Yeah, Karen, this is a great point. And everything you said, I knew in my head. I just didn't convey it in the 2 episodes that talked about simply filling. So I'll take a moment now. When I saw your email, I was like, yeah, I actually do need to address that. So you're right. If you're following the simply filling, it is kind of branded as for those who don't like to track. That's kind of how it's branded. And kind of the intent with that is there's a list of approved foods, and anything on that approved food list, you don't have to count smart points for, because it's an approved food if you eat it per serving. And that kind of equates to not tracking. But you're absolutely right. What you have to do is you've got to log them in the tracker, because you need to know how many servings of this you're having. Because just because it's an approved food doesn't mean it's an unlimited amount of that food. So that's where tracking comes in for sure, whether it's be on the paper tracker or whether you do it through the app. The app, if you do set the setting in your app to simply filling, then those foods show up with a green dot, and those foods are approved on the list. But again, you still need to be mindful of the serving sizes. Anything that's not on that approved list, that does get tracked as smart points, and it does use a weekly balance for sure. So great points in your email. I understand exactly what you're saying. And simply filling it's a great technique for a lot of people. I know many people who've done it, who are successful at it. You're right. It's not something that I'm interested in doing, but it doesn't make it wrong. There's so many different ways to work this program. The fact that others have options that work directly for them is amazing. I will go ahead again also in the show notes, and I'll put a link to the list of approved foods for simply filling in case I know you already are probably very well aware of it, but for others who are interested in this process, I'll put that link there for you to explore. And together, we work the program and we get to get the program done, so keep doing what you're doing. And, again, back to the simply filling piece, you do have a weekly balance, and the weekly balance, it goes quickly. That weekly balance on simply filling, if you have to eat a lot of stuff on that list, but clearly you're getting that success. So great job with that, Karen. Thank you for your email, and let's continue to go. Folks, great job here on the plan. I'm honored to be able to talk to you as we celebrate together, as we laugh together, and as we share some pain together. This is an incredibly important journey. The things we do here are important for the rest of our lives, and the fact that we're able to do them together and share them together is what changes our community and keeps us all focused. So keep up the great work, and I want to know always what it is that you're celebrating. Where are you struggling? What are your challenges? I want to talk about them on the air. I want you to go to FatDag.com. Click on Listen Now. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. What's really interesting is I get a handful of emails where people ask me, hey, can you give me the contact information for this person? Because what they said really resonated with me, and I want to reach out to them specifically. And, and I always, double check to make sure I'm able to do that if they didn't include it. But the point of that is when you share this, we're reaching so many people who just need to connect and understand that they're not alone in this journey. The other email I get a lot is at some point I'll send in my why. I see that a lot. At some point I'll send it in. I can tell you that every email that's been shared on the air to this point, somebody somewhere has been able to resonate with it, and it's helped them along their journey. So I encourage you, again, go to fatdag.com, click on Listen Now, send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus.